I have a phenomenal interview today to share with you with Magri Jade, who's lost over 15 stone. That's about 95 kilograms. That's incredible on her juice, fasting journey, and also her raw foods lifestyle. And we share all the details of how she came from overweight, lost, depressed, to actually now having a purpose. She has 2 children, and she's showing others how we can feel incredible, vibrant, and how you can do it too. So it's a great interview, and I'm excited to be sharing it with you.
Hello, welcome. My name is Tony. If you're new here, welcome to my channel, rawliciousyou.com. We have a really incredible guest today. Amazing. I love Magri Jade, who's phenomenal in helping others not just create a body they love, but a life they love as well, because she teaches how to detox the body and love your body. And I love it because she's from England, and I inspired because we love our British. And we've been talking a lot about how, there's a lot of transformations, especially in the raw movement, coming from America. But where are they from? England. So in the raw vegan movement is huge now. It's growing so fast, and more people are seeing the benefits, not just becoming vegan, but becoming, the raw health. So you're doing it for the animals, but really the health-wise from the raw side. And Magri Jade's story is a huge transformation in the way you have shifted a lot of weight, Magri Jade. So first of all, I want to get you to introduce yourself and just share your story, and then we can go through the details.
Sure. Hi. So Magri, I'm 37 and I'm from southern England, and I was 210 pounds, so like 15 stone. And it wasn't really, I didn't really see it as much of an issue, to be fair, but I was heavily into drugs and alcohol and eating and fast food, processed food. And yeah, considering I was a chef, I was really, really bad with my own eating. So it just crept up, and yeah, I didn't really know it was there until it was there. Yeah. And I was depressed and anxious. I used to have like heart palpitations. And yeah, I didn't realise what a struggle it was to get through each day until I wasn't in that place anymore. And when I discovered juice fasting and raw, everything just clicked into place, really. Watching a few YouTubes on with John Rose and Shane Sterling, and sort of discovering the power of raw foods, I was just like, that's what I've been looking for. I was always interested in like sort of tribal stuff, ancient history, ancient megaliths, and I always thought they can't have been eating, what we're eating, and what were they eating? But it never really clicked. And then I found raw, and I was like, oh my God, people can sustain just on fruit and salad. Like, this is what I've been looking for, and all the clogs just fitted into place. And yeah, I found Shane Sterling's group, Raw Vegan Heroes Community, joined that 2 weeks in. I used that to play around with all the raw foods to see if I could like recreate my old favourites like bolognese and stuff, all the sauces, mayonnaise. And yeah, I thought, yeah, that's a doddle, can do that. So then I need to clear out my system, because God knows what was in there. Well, we see what was in there.
We do right now.
Yeah.
Videos.
And yeah, and I done 120 days, and I done 120 days because I'd seen someone, Luminous Raw, I think it was, on YouTube. She's got, if you type in 150 days mucoid plaque, it comes up, and she got some big boulders out of her and that on like day 80. And I was like, right, I've got to go for like more than that, so 120.
Wow. And you've never done this before?
No, I'd never done anything like this. I didn't think you could fast. I didn't think you could go without eating. I certainly didn't think you could do like water fasting or just
Wow.
no food. Nothing.
Yeah.
But I was scared in the beginning. I thought, and everyone's going, "You're gonna die, you're gonna
Yeah.
die," and then you Google it, and it does look like you're gonna die. So, yeah. But what I have learned on this journey is that one, don't Google anything.
Yeah, do. Yeah.
And two, if everyone's saying don't do it, you usually got to do it.
Go the opposite to what everyone else is doing. And you hit something really, same for me, is you don't truly realize how healthy or how unhealthy you was. There's a level that like most people are working at. It feels very not that great, but it's okay. And it gets worse as you get older and older. And it's not until you change your lifestyle, your diet, and especially if you're doing a juice cleanse, you see the exceptional level that you can feel. It's like, oh my goodness, why did I wait so long? Why didn't I discover this years ago?
Well, especially like since I had that iridology examination the other day, and it said like, you've got a really clean colon, but you've got all this other stuff, your adrenals aren't working, your lymphatic system isn't working properly, you're not. So people that are looking at me, like my friends, are thinking, wow, you're so super healthy.
Yeah.
And then I'm sat here thinking, oh, I've got a lot of work to do yet. And it's just, and then you realize exactly where you were at, like slugging around before. It's just bizarre.
I feel many do realize it, but they don't really know what to do or if it's even possible, or they become to accept just the way
But what it is.
Yeah. And that's
the brain fog that you get when you're in that kind of comatose eating state is you might think you're okay, but when it lifts and when it's gone and when you're cleaned out, your clarity is just amazing.
Because people feel it's a gimmick or it's a short term, like you just go, like I see a lot of people go to retreats here in Thailand, and then they go for these colonics, and I'm like, then they go back to eating the way they was. Why it gets a little bit of stigma as well, and why it's seen as a gimmick, because people keep going on and off, keep going back, and the goal really is to eventually, you want to be getting cleaner, eating more back to our basic foods, the raw foods. And it doesn't just happen overnight. But for you, did you go vegetarian or vegan, or was it straight raw?
Straight in. Well, I did have a little dabble with veganism. After I was a chef, I tried to become a vegan, but I couldn't give up mayonnaise, and I did struggle with cheese for a while. And then I kind of showed myself all the videos and everything, and I drummed that in that was bad. And then I would go back to like kebab meat, things that didn't look like animals, and like sausages and stuff. No steak or anything. Yeah. So, but then I wasn't having milk at that point. So I was really all, all the wrong way round. And then, I did even juice for a bit when I see Joe Cross's Fat, Sick and Nearly Dead. But again, I wasn't aligned. I didn't know what I was doing. I thought I was just juicing away. I didn't realise the cleaning and the emotional aspect of it. And I think that's why those people that go and do the retreats, and if they do the juice fast and stuff, if you're not ready to do the emotional work as well, then you're not gonna sustain it.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah, because we suppress with food, and then when you take that out, you're actually having to feel your feelings and see them come through, and it's not everyone's ready for that. It is scary. What came up for you during your juice cleanse?
A lot of self-esteem issues, mainly. How I let people treat me, all relationships in my life, I just were under the magnifying glass, really. And some might say like I ran away to I've moved like 130 miles away from my where I was living, where I was born, and away from all my friends and stuff. But things just weren't aligning, and people were not that happy for me that I was doing this. And some of my longest term friends, like best friends, they didn't even like a picture on Instagram for my whole juice fast, the before and after, didn't, give me a well done, and I found it really upsetting, but it did cause me to sort of look at it. And that was one of the things that, I come up for me emotionally. And just looking at all the relationships I'd had in my life. And I mean, I was with the children's father all through the juice fast, and we'd had a reasonably good year, it was lockdown, he wasn't able to go to the pub, he was helping out more with the kids, and we'd had a really okay year, probably our best yet.
Wow.
But because I was looking at all these relationships I'd had in my life, I realised how it was before, even though it was my fault as well, because I'd met him at that level of trauma, and I'd accepted that behaviour myself, rather than I'm learning boundaries as well. Like, that's a big thing. You're learning your own boundaries. It just caused me to say, no, I don't want that anymore. I couldn't deal with it. So I just left that relationship. But that was a big one, toxic relationships, and whether or not I'm toxic in it, or whether it's all me. You end up looking so inward, don't you?
You do, yeah. And it's a good, because you start to take responsibility instead of having that blaming everybody else. You start to realise, oh my goodness, why am I attracting what patterns are in me that's attracting these relationships, these friendships.
I just thought, I don't want that anymore. I don't want to be treated like that. I don't want to live here. I don't want my kids to grow up there. I'm going to the country, and I'm bringing them up like slowly and around nature and good food and good produce and good people, good community kind of feel,
Yeah, you've recently moved, haven't you, to the countryside?
Yeah. It was a no-brainer for me.
So it's nice to have that, even though it's scary when you're in it and people aren't ready for that. We call it like an identity shift. There's like, wow, it's a breakdown of your old identity, and not everybody is ready to let go of that. And it can be intense, especially through the juice cleanse, because it brings up, if you want to shorten your awakening, especially your spiritual awakening, then go on a juice fast, because that
I'd say that I've quantum leaped timelines, because the timeline I was on, I wanted to commit suicide. I was so depressed. I was like, I can't go on, everyone's better off if I'm not here. And doing that juice fast propelled me into living and my life purpose and being exactly where I want to be, and everything just came then. The manifestation was like so fast. So I found that as well. Do you know, when you initially you get this fear come in, don't you, and then all of a sudden you just let go and surrender, and then more opportunities come in, and when you trust that process, it feels like it becomes, this is what I shared when I did my first juice cleanse. I did 40 days. I felt like there was more opportunities that was in alignment coming in, and it was much easier than when I was trying to go at everything with fear and try and hustle and try just constantly putting myself out there, when I took a step back, because that's what people are frightened of taking some time out for themselves, slowing down and actually listening to what they really want. And it might be not what the life that they've got now. And that's what scares people, is that life is, actually, this is not what I want. Or, the other way, where you feel, that, but are you ready to do something, to go to that next place of your life? The level I was at, it was just, you said about rituals. Well, I wasn't even, making time for myself to eat. So I put it into like the brackets of, okay, juicing takes 15 minutes each meal. I spend that on everyone else's meal. Why can't I spend it on mine? And that was my first little bit of thinking, and my first time I'd taken the time to work, because I wasn't even having a bath. It was so hard to do little ones, and boyfriend to look after a house to clean and whatnot. So yeah, just putting that aside, that hour, I was like, I am worth an hour of my day. Yeah. And when you start to get in those little rituals, like you say, it makes it easier. Yeah, I know that's what I've got to do with the other stuff now.
yeah, implement what you've already done. We forget that when we actually take time for ourselves, everyone else benefits as well. You feel guilty for doing that. I felt guilty for a long time being in dog rescue. I'm always thinking of the dogs and getting them out. I have a lot of dogs. There's always sick dogs, and you forget about yourself. I can imagine, like with your children. But when you actually are taking care of yourself, you're more stressed. You're tired. You're more slower. When you actually take care of yourself, you're much more able to do more for the others.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely made me a better mother. I'm so much more patient with them. I mean, I've had the episodes during the move, and my mum just passed, so dealing with that raw was so much. It's easier. I mean, I don't get half as angry as I would have before, but I've only had like 1 or 2 outbursts. But even when you do have the outbursts, you're able to sort of sit down and explain to them, and you come from a real heart center when you're talking to the kids. And I wouldn't have done that before. It would have just it would have just been so different. And yeah, I mean, I did eat some chips when my mum died, and I smoked about 20 Bensons and Hedges because that's what she liked. So I felt like I was, I don't know, just like embodying her a bit. But yeah. I mean, that's fallen off the wagon for me now, whereas before it would have been like, I would have gone missing for a couple of days and been drugged up and drunk to the eyeballs. So a plate of chips, I gave myself a pat on the back for that.
Yeah, it's like those, you don't realise what those things that could have spiralled, that behaviour could have escalated, and you stopped it. You forget about all these, the behaviours, like it's so much more than just cleaning your body, isn't it? And we do talk about the juice cleanse is purely for removing mucoid plaque to clean out the system, but it comes with so much, it cleans everything. And like you said about the clarity and how you handle things, and having more patience, and you're more balanced, you're more loving. That saves everyone, including yourself. And your health's going to just improve. Yeah, for me, there were the main benefits. Not apart from how you look, you look amazing.
Thank you.
That's a byproduct.
First time I put makeup on for a while.
And you still look amazing. I've seen you with no makeup on.
Oh goodness.
Did you see big shifts in your skin as well then?
I did on the juice fast. It went amazing. I've always had problems with my skin. But after the stress of the last couple of months and that, I have started to have a few more spots. So that's why I wanted to incorporate like the wheatgrass juice and the more greens, and sort of less sort of high sugar fruits. Like, not that that matters, but I just wanted to give it a go, see if that cleaned up my skin, because it never really completely went on the fruit. But I mean, I only gave it a year, and I didn't do just fruit or anything like that. So I thought I'd just give it a go, adding some more greens in and see how that sits with my skin. But I glow after a juice of pineapple, that's for sure.
Yeah. It's part of experimenting though, isn't it? You've got to I think we go through seasons, sometimes we might have more nuts and seeds, sometimes we feel more fruits, sometimes more greens. And we can get a bit too dogmatic. This is one thing I wanted to actually talk to you about, was the dogma that comes with raw food. You've got your fruitarians, the hygienic, is it the hygienic diet? And I've got a few friends that are doing that, and they're looking at what I'm eating. They're like, if you've taken that out, I said, look, I'm mastering raw foods. And there's times that I'll increase my fats to more nuts and seeds because I feel that's what I feel called to. And then I get a little bit of sluggish. So I'll up my carbs and I'll have less fats. And I just play around with it. Have you found, do you feel the same? Like you have, there's just mixed periods of time. Like there's times when you juice, there's times when we fast, there's times when you'll have more greens.
Yeah, definitely. And a lot of my friends around me are saying, oh, you know, you've done a lot of detoxing now, you know, now's the time for sort of replenishing your body. And I sort of go through waves of that, really. Oh, I need a detox. Oh, I need to eat in abundance now. But right now I'm feeling like it's spring. I want to get all the greens in. I want to start making like onion breads and having my nut cheeses and all that. And I try not to limit myself with raw because, you know, it's not a McDonald's at the end of the day. And I just try not to give myself a hard time and be dogmatic about it. But saying that, I am pretty dogmatic about staying raw. I mean, I mentioned the chips when my mum died and that, but I would like to be raw. And I do get a lot of people saying to me, coming in my inbox, oh, you know, well, if you just ate a bit of this and ate a bit of that. And I thought, at the moment, my mind can't get to a point where I'm not going to be raw, but maybe in a couple of years, I might, you know, think about it. It's just about experimenting with your own body, isn't it? And seeing what works for you, what gives you the most energy. I mean, I'd love to do another iridology exam in 6 months and a year and just see if it's cleaned up anything and what's going on inside there. It's just your own experiment, aren't you?
You are, and you only know, you know, you can use all these tools which help you to create, you know, you can see, it's just a way of monitoring, isn't it, or having a look, gauging, and it's fun to do. And I feel they all have their place. And yeah, it's part of experimentation. I think if you're on this path, so you've 100% or high, do you say you use high raw?
Well, I'd say I was 100%, but I mean, I have like spices. I don't know if that counts to being high raw.
Again, it's back to this, you know, like where do you class? Oh, you shouldn't call yourself raw vegan, but you know, if you feel of what your intention is and where you want to go, anything that you want, you always envision and be that now. So yeah, and if it helps you, you know, like some people say, oh, this, you know, don't have salt, what salt does, but I think if it helps you stay on this lifestyle, like you said, it's better than McDonald's.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have salt, I don't have olive oil or tamari or anything like that. I've tried to sort of come up with raw ways of having like tamari. So I'll use the water from sun-dried tomatoes. That kind of got a bit of a taste to it. And I'm working like with making anything sweet with dates. So rather than agave or anything that people like to use, and I make a raw mustard. I try to make it all raw, and if any of it does taste rubbish, then yeah, you know, I'll try a bit of agave in it. But yeah, I'm experimenting anyway. I'm experimenting because I want to have a lot of people in a retreat up the road from me. So I want to provide the food and just sort of working with that, really, making it as clean as possible.
Oh, amazing. So you're going to set up some retreats then in the future?
Yeah, there's a B&B up the road, and until I get like maybe a yurt in my garden and I can do it from there, I'm going to just be running up the juices up the road and the raw foods, depending on the workshop or the women's retreats, or doing yoga in my garden, and really, really excited about the future. So
what is the future? What is the future for you and your family then, in the big ultimate vision?
The big ultimate vision would be to be homeschooling them and working and healing people at the same time, which I'm kind of doing, you know. We've got the Juice Fast Mastery group coaching with Shane, and I do a bit of coaching on my own one-to-one with people, and I'm setting up my website that's going to be just like a one-stop shop for anyone that's healing, and all the different pathways that I've gone and all the people I've met like yourself. Because if someone doesn't resonate with me, because not everyone's going to like me, then hopefully they'll be able to find someone that does resonate with them, and then that can bring them in. I don't want any holes barred to this raw. I want to get everyone in.
Yeah.
So just the big vision for me is always to have this juicing and raw foods in hospitals. That will be the vision I hold to the day that I die. Whether or not I'll see it this lifetime, I don't know, but that would be, the big one.
I'm sure you would. If you want it, you definitely will. And sorry?
That is one place that needs its menu shaken up.
Yeah, and to end on this actually was, because I forgot to mention it, we were talking about the mentality of the British. How have you found those around you, especially now, where you're at now? As we'll talk about from before as well, the mentality, and you've already shared about some of your friends that wasn't very supportive. They just don't understand, and some have some inner challenges, and then you've got those around you now. Have you got many offline, like really interested?
They're coming. They're coming. I've just made one fruitarian friend down here, and I've taken the kids to see her, and she's lovely, and she is probably in a really good place, a place I'd like to be. She homeschools and she's on her own and that, so she's really lovely, and they're coming in.
Yeah.
And but mainly online.
Yeah, same. If you can't find them around you, seek them out. They are out there, and as we've connected. And there's even Evie. There's loads of us in we're saying all these raw vegans in the UK. Because there is for me, even back, I always say when I went vegetarian, there was a lot of resistance with my family and friends. Then going vegan, now raw vegan. I'm like, all my family and friends, or most of them back in England, are just like, this girl's crazy. I'm so extreme. And obviously it's a natural, for me, it was just a natural path of, I did do that path of I went pescatarian, vegetarian, vegan. I did do that because I was just like, that just came naturally to me. And now, the raw veganism is just a no-brainer. And I feel high fruit really works for me because I'm in the tropics as well. And I have it very simple. But even my diet from the raw is very, like, people are always asking me for recipes or share what you're eating. I'm like, it's mono meals. It's just quite simple. Most of the time, it's literally just 8 mangoes or a whole watermelon, that's all. And I do smoothie bowls. I was getting a little bit I'm not as creative as you, but I get a lot of resistance from, I would say, because we're from England, you're going to see it more because you've got a lot of connections over where you are from, and that was I saw the British mentality of very, I've come from those like you, eating kebabs, processed foods all the time. That's what I was brought up on. So, where do you feel there's changes in mentality?
Well, if you go through stages as well, you become like an angry vegan and you want to shout about it from the rooftops, and then that's when you usually lose all your friends on Facebook, and then you kind of simmer down and then you reflect. But then with raw, I feel like I've got all the answers, like, to anyone that's sort of coming at me. But with that, you also, when you become raw, you become a bit, not placid, but you just keep your mouth shut if you don't want to engage in the conversation. And maybe before you might have felt like you had to fill that gap with some talking, but you become quite calm, being just like, people would say, oh my goodness, what is that? And I'd just be like smiling, and whereas before it would be like, this is good for your body and you need to do this and you need to do that. But if you just smile and then they're gone. But I do believe, I like the mono meals are great for you, but I want to inspire people to eat it. That's why I like the more complicated dishes with the relishes and the wraps and stuff. And I just want to. I think the more it looks like their food, the more chance we've got to bring them in. So I don't want to limit them even further with a mono meal.
Yeah, totally get that. It is so far. Yeah, I get it. And that's something where that's why we all have our, like you say, you want to create this database for people to go to. I want to get more creative, but it's not really I'm really on the mindset. I really want to focus on that transition. Why? Because it serves in all areas of our lives. But you do get those that are, so passionate about the career. I do love seeing the food, but I look at it and I'm like, I've never been a cook anyway. So you was a chef. So that creativeness is in you. You love. I know we all can do it, but I just look at it, I'm like, that takes way too long.
Yeah.
But, it makes sense. When people like you will help others who are creative, who want the substitutes, like going from, non-vegan to vegan, now to raw. If you can create that same and make it easy, there's a place for it. It's definitely needed. And that's where do you see yourself? You will create. So you're already doing the juices, and then eventually you'll have your own food. You'll be chefing again, do you think?
I mean, I was thinking about that, I always said I'm never going to be a chef again. It's the most thankless industry to work in. Considering you're feeding people, and people like to eat, it is the most thankless work. And it's hard and it's long hours. And all the chefs I used to know were alcoholics and and dragging themselves in like till 1 a.m, back in at 6. It's really, really long. So that sort of cooking like that, it just scares the crap out of me. But in a raw food restaurant, I can imagine would feel so light and airy and lovely. And I don't know if there's any in the UK. I mean, there must be, but I mean, I haven't seen any. Or so I mean, I would love to run one, or maybe one day open the first one or something. But that's a good dream.
Yeah, it's happening because I always remember 5 years ago when I left the UK, one of my friends had a vegetarian and going towards vegan as well in a little calf. And she was like, no way can I, because I was asking her, can you go fully vegan? I was like, because vegetarians really, because she was full vegan and we were protesting and doing a lot of activist work. And she was like, I can't, because they're just not, it's not quite there yet. There's not a need for it. And now, 2 years after I'd left, and it's been, say, over 5 years now, but 2 years after, it's fully vegan and it's thriving. So I feel this is what raw's going to be like, isn't it? There's going to be so many raw restaurants. It's exciting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it would be great to head that.
Yeah. Well, you'll be starting off in hospitals, and that is an amazing place. If you can get some protocols in the hospitals and get them healthy through cleansing and raw foods.
Oh my God, there'd be no need for hospitals anymore, would there?
No, but you won't be getting a job. And oh, thanks so much, Magri Jade, for coming on. I really appreciate it. Any final words for anybody that is very similar to where you was, just fed up, lost, and didn't have much, like they just knew they wanted change. What advice would you give to your old self and to
old self? That depression and anxiety comes from your guts. It comes from your stomach, and sort that out, and it sorts that out in turn. And find the dishes that you like and change them into raw, or find a raw recipe and make sure that you can really thrive with what the things that you like with it. Definitely. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Amazing.
Thank you.
If you'd like to know more on Magri Jade's story and her transformation, then all that is in the description box below. And if you want support on your journey, if you want to get rid of cellulite, feel vibrant, feel good, actually wake up with a purpose, wake up with a sense of clarity. You know where you're going, you want to feel lean, you want to feel sexy, then I have all that information in the description box below. Join the course that I'm offering. It's phenomenal for your transformation. If it resonates, then check it out.